So I'm going to speak about the M68 support in QEMU. And first, who am I? My name is Laurent Vivier. I work for several years on QEMU. I am the maintainer of the M68K CPU emulation in QEMU, of the Quadra 800 emulation, and also of the Linux user mod for the global support in QEMU. In the 68K world, I wrote several years ago a bootloader for the Macintosh. The name is Emil. And what is nice with Emil is we can create CD-ROM we can boot, for instance, to boot the Debian installer. It's nice to be able to bypass completely the macOS system. And I work for 5 years, five years now at Red Hat in the virtualization team. So I'm going to speak firstly on what we have already in QEMU to emulate system, the Quadra emulation system, and a little bit about the user mod QEMU. And that after that, I will introduce a new machine. In fact, it's a machine for the developer, I think, mostly. And in the end, at the end, I will make some little demo of this new machine. So what do we have in QEMU for the M68? We have the ColdFire emulation for 14 years now. It was written in the first versions of QEMU, I think. It was written by Paul Brook. And since for 5 years now, we have the emulation of the 68,000 series. This is my work. It is based on the ColdFire emulation. And it was a prerequisite to be able to emulate the Macintosh. And between the introduction of the CPU and the introduction of the Quadra 800, we had the Nextcube emulation that is incomplete. I think we can only boot the ROM and have Windows with the debugger. It was the work of a Google Summer of Code student in 2011, and Thomas Hutt, that works also on the Atari emulator, I think, has made the port complete in 2018. So you can ask, why did I decide to emulate the Quadra 800? Because I think it's easier to emulate a Macintosh than an Amiga. At least I know Amiga. I own one Amiga 500 and several years ago. I don't know Atari, so perhaps it will be easier to emulate, but I have chosen Quadra 800. And the good point with the Macintosh has made of parts already available for other machines. So to emulate a Macintosh in QEMU, it's easy, at least for the Quadra 800, because all the parts of the machine are already implemented in the emulator for Power Macintosh, for instance, or for Spark machine, and I think some also for MIPS machine. The networking card was already in use for the emulation of MIPS machine. But we can have problem to reuse these parts. We have Indianness problem because they have been really tested on, for instance, Little Indian emulation, but not on Big Indian. And the Quadra 800 has something very particular. It doesn't have direct memory access. It has a mode called pseudo direct memory access, and we have to add that in the emulation of the SCSI device. So it was a difficult work. And as I said, we can also reuse some part we already use for the Power Mac, like the ADB bus, and I think that was all. Only the ADB bus, perhaps, no, only that. And why a Macintosh? Because I know how to boot a kernel in a Macintosh, so I took some pieces of code from my bootloader to be able to load the kernel in the memory of the emulator. And the big point when you write an emulator, it's better to have the real hardware to compare the behavior of the real hardware with the emulator. If you have a question, you can interrupt me. Otherwise, I will continue to speak. And at the end, at the end of the presentation, you will be able to ask question if you have. Okay. So why did I decide to write a new machine, a new virtual machine for the M68K? Because the Macintosh has some limitation, like the size of the memory. Normally, the Quadra 800 can only manage 136 megabytes because it has only slots to manage this quantity of memory. We are able to boot the emulator with 1 gigabyte of memory. We should be able to have more because I think the memory map of the Macintosh allows to have more memory. But the problem here is the kernel crash with more than 1 gigabyte of memory. So the problem, I think, is in the kernel. And we can't add more hardware to this emulator because we don't have, the Quadra doesn't have PCI or bus. We emulate in QEMU to use device we already implemented in QEMU for the other machine. On the other point, two other points, the Quadra 800 emulation, I think, is fast, but we can have a faster emulation if we can improve the part in the emulation of the devices that can consume a lot of CPU time on the host. So this is the part about the system emulation. We know we also have the user mode emulation that is faster than the system emulation because we don't have to emulate all the hardware below the kernel. We don't have to emulate the code executed by the kernel, so it's faster. We have only to emulate the part in the user mode, the part in the application. But we have some issue with that because we have to translate all the data from the user part to the kernel part. If we execute a 64-bit machine with Little Indian mode in the emulator, and we have the same mode on the host, we have no problem. But in the case of the 68K, we emulate a 32-bit machine, big Indian machine, and generally we want to use that on a PC we have at home that is a 64-bit machine with Little Indian mode. So we have to translate every structure we pass from the user mode to the host kernel. And for instance, for the .NET emulation, we have to intercept all the read and write to the file descriptor to translate all the data structure that are read or write to the netlink file descriptor. So it can be complicated. In some case, we can't emulate some syscall. For instance, when the kernel provides a pointer to to the user space. If the pointer is a 64-bit pointer and the user space is a 32-bit user space, the pointer will not fit in the field the user space provides. So it's complicated to emulate. I tried that recently with the asynchronous I/O mod, and I think it's possible, but it is more work to do that. The other problem with the user mod emulation is we have to constantly keep in sync the QEMU with the kernel to be able to translate the new syscall, to translate the old syscalls if there is something that has been changed, or if we want to improve that. And the problem with the Linux user mod is I am the maintainer of this part of QEMU. There are some, it's in use because we have some people that provide patch from Google, from Linaro, from MIPS. But the problem here is I am the only one that review the patch. So I don't have enough time to improve the Linux user mod, and it's a problem. So if people want to contribute to review patches, you will be welcome. So we have seen the problem with the system emulation and the Linux user mod emulation. Why do we want a virtual machine? We want that, as we've seen, to overcome the hardware limitation we have in the Quadra 800, for instance. And I think the important point is to be able to use all the work that has been done for QEMU, for the cloud, for the virtual machine with KVM. A lot of companies put a lot of money in QEMU for this use. I think there are several points that are interesting with QEMU, like the VirtIO interfaces, the migration, and it will bring to the M68 machine some backends we don't have with the Macintosh emulation, like the encryption, the random number generator, the vhost, the GPU. And this allows to run a M68 kernel. For the developer, it's interesting because we develop in a very similar condition than that on a real machine, but in better condition than with the Quadra 800 emulation. So, as I think it's better to have a pure virtual machine to develop with M68K, I wrote a pure virtual machine. So it means no emulation of old hardware. What do we have in this machine? The only thing we have from the past, I can say, is the CPU. We take the CPU emulation we have already in QEMU. For the moment, it only emulates a 040 CPU because the Quadra 800 has this kind of CPU. The difference between a 030, for instance, is the MMU, and I think the 030 MMU is more complicated than the 040. So it's why I prefer to use that one. With this pure virtual machine, we can use the 4 GB of memory of the 32-bit address space. I've chosen to add 128 VirtIO buses, so we can have 128 VirtIO interfaces. I think it's not really needed. And to be able to manage the timer, the IRQ, the serial port, the boot serial port, I have searched for something that are more simple that a VirtIO interface, and the VirtIO doesn't provide the timer or real-time clock. So I found in another virtual machine in QEMU, the RISC-V virt machine, that they were using already the real-time clock from the Goldfish emulation. The Goldfish interfaces comes from the Android emulator, so the specs are available. They are not very detailed. We can find the driver already in the kernel. It's very interesting because we don't have to. I didn't have to write the driver for the kernel, only to write the missing device emulation for the Goldfish device in QEMU. So it was less work for me. And the other interesting point is we don't need to write a firmware. We can boot directly the kernel. We load the kernel in the machine and we can execute it. So a quick view of what can provide Virtio devices. We can have a network interface. We can have block device to access virtual disk. We can have a Virtio serial port. We can emulate GPU, mouse, tablet, keyboard. Like as we don't have USB and we don't want to keep the ADB emulation, it's interesting to have this Virtio input to play with a graphic interface to be able to run a desktop. And we have also the crypto and the random number generator. The RNG part is interesting, for instance, for SSH to be able to have some entropy to initialize all the stuff in SSH. And another part that is very interesting is the Virtion 9P. It is the 9P FS that allows to share the file system of the host inside the virtual machine without using NFS server or NFS client or to start a 9pfs server on the host. So an example of how to start the new machine is the simple command line. We can see, we can see in the simple command line we provide the machine type. It's virt. The size of the memory, it's 1 gigabyte in this case. We don't want to have a graphical interface. We only want to use the serial port. It's easier to use when the machine is running on a remote server. We define a disk on the Virtio block device on the Virtio bus. We define the file of the image. The interesting part is we can use the copy and write system of QEMU, and there is a lot of functionalities in the copy and write of QEMU. And in the end of the command, we provide the kernel we want to boot and the command line of the kernel. In this case, we want to use the Goldfish serial port, the TTY from Goldfish, and we provide the boot partition. Alors, a quick review of the parameters to add Virtio devices on the command line. We have 3 examples. One from the random number generator. The second is to use a console on the serial port. The last part is to add a graphical interface. In this case, we have to remove the no graphic from the command line we saw on the previous slide. This is the example to share the file system from the host to the guest machine. On the first part is the commands to provide to QEMU. In this example, we want to share the home directory of the host. And the second part is how to mount it in the guest. We have a tag home0 that will allow to mount that on the home directory in the guest. Last slide of the example, it's how to mount a CD-ROM. If we want to boot the Debian installer, to install Debian in a disk, we need to be able to access a CD-ROM. So this is the command line to use. I was not able to install from a CD-ROM directly because the Debian installer was checking for the kernel in use, and as I use a modified kernel to boot the machine, it is not the same as in the CD-ROM, so I was not able to install using this command line. I used the Quadra 800 emulation to be able to install my system and then to use it with the new machine. And we have an example to add networking to the guest. The first part is to add a network device. We can have several if we want. And the second part is to have access to the local network. And we can use a simple command to a simple argument to configure it, the user one, but it is limited. The best is to use the bridge, but it's complicated to configure. Generally, when I want to use a bridge, I use Virt Manager and libvirt to configure the bridge, and I reuse that with my command. Two more slides, and I think after that we will have the demo. And if you want to try to build the simulator, you can access to my Git repo. It's on the M68K Virt branch. You can configure it to only build the M68K emulation with system, only the system, and you will have the Virt machine. So configure and make, and it should be good. And you also need a modified kernel to add the new machine in it. So I have also a branch for that. It's better to cross compile because it will be faster than to use a virtual machine or a Linux user. Linux user is good to build to do cross compilation when we don't want to install all the stuff on the host, but it's slower. But in the case of kernel, we only need the compiler, so it will be easy if you want to try. So now the demo. Do you have any question before the demo? I guess it's a no. So
there are the notes.
Yes,
there are notes.
Yes, there are some questions in the notes. I can read them. So one question was, does Debian QEMU already include this?
No, it's only, in fact, it's a work in progress. For the moment, I'm trying to have something that works, that is something that is robust. I share. I think I sent. Yes, I sent an email to the QEMU mailing list with the patch that are needed to have something that works, with the link to the Linux kernel modification. And it's better. I started that 3 or 4 weeks ago, so it's really new. And I think it's okay for the moment. I think perhaps no one uses it in the QEMU community. but I think it will be easy to be merged in the QEMU repo. The problem is with the Linux side. It's really hard to have things merged in Linux kernel, and I have to have something that works correctly. I have to make a change in the Virtio port because of the Indianness. I think my change is correct, but I think I am the only one that use this part of Virtio because Virtio has been tested with a big Indian guest because Power was using yes, we can say was using big Indian system, a big Indian guest on a little Indian host for the we can have big Indian Power on little Indian Power, but this part of the code is not used by Power, I think. So I think my change is correct, but they have to be discussed, and this is why I didn't push the kernel part because we need the QEMU part on the kernel part. So it will come, but not now.
So thank you. The next question is probably maybe also clear because it's so new. The question was, is any other OS other than Linux that supports this new virtual machine?
No, because we need to port the OS, the operating system, to the machine. In Linux, it was easy because Linux 4M68K supports already several machines, and it is well separated between the machines. So I had to add very few lines in Linux. But for the other operating system, it's more complicated. You have to have access to the source and to be able to build a new system. For instance, for BSD, this is at least I know only the part for Macintosh. I've never been able to boot BSD with my bootloader Emil on Macintosh because it rely a lot on Macintosh. It rely a lot on the Mac OS ROM. So we need the Mac OS ROM to run the BSD system on a Mac. And in this case, we don't have firmware, we don't have ROM. So perhaps we can rely on other M68 port of BSD. I mean other, not Macintosh, but I don't know the other part, so I can't do this work. So I only use Linux, so for the moment I can't help for that.
Yeah, maybe our session today will spark some interest from the BSD community, okay. And maybe someone will look at this. There's another question. The question is the emulation just accurate enough to run existing 68,000 software, or does it try to get cycle accurate or behave like the original CPUs?
No, the goal is to be fast. So we want to run at full speed we can. It's my choice, and QEMU doesn't do that. It doesn't. It is not cycle accurate. And if we want to run macOS, for instance, it's a problem. Another people in the QEMU community is working on to have macOS working in the Quadra 800 emulation, and he has a lot of problem with the speed. He has some problem with the emulation of the hardware because macOS RAM is is checking with accuracy the behavior of the hardware. So it's complicated in this part. I think it will be able to run that. And if you take, for instance, the Basilisk 2 emulation, I think it can run at in an improved speed of the CPU, but Basilisk 2 emulation patch the RAM. So it's something we don't do in QEMU2. So I don't know if I had answer to the question, but the answer should be no.
Yeah, it's a different goal. The goal is performance. So
Yeah.
have it as fast as possible. Not emulate some existing machine as exact as possible.
The goal, the new machine is not interesting for the people that want to have a vintage machine, that want to emulate a vintage machine. The goal of the new machine is more for the developer, a developer that want to build in a very close condition of the real machine, but with improvement of we can have with modern machine.
Two more questions here. Is symmetric multiprocessing support planned?
In fact, it's a good question. It's something we can have with Linux user mode emulation, because in Linux user mode emulation, each process of the emulated application will be mapped to a process of the host, and if the host has enough processor, we will have parallel execution of the process. In the case of the system machine, if we want to have QEMU supports several CPU for the other machine, but if we want to do that, I think the M68K can support that in the hardware. So we can plug in QEMU, we can plug what we want if we describe it correctly. So we can imagine to plug several CPU in the virtual machine, but the problem is to define how we plug that in the machine. And we have more problem because I don't think the Linux kernel supports SMP with M68K. So we have to write some code for QEMU. More than write some code, we have to define how we can do that. But I think the most difficult part of the work will be to do the work in the Linux kernel. So I think it's possible, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, about the QEMU user mode and how that scales, that will also be part of what I will talk about in the second session.
Okay.
The last question now, is modern QEMU still doing just-in-time compilation to the host architecture compared to, say, start of QEMU 15 years ago?
Oh, QEMU was already always just-in-time compilation. In fact, the first I think it's funny. The first the 0.98 until the 0.98 version of QEMU was using GCC to produce the code, the block of code, and put this code in a cache, and it was reusing that. And now in QEMU we have the TCG, the Tiny Code Generator, and this is also just-in-time emulation, code production.
Thank you. So I think these were all questions for now. Oh no, there's one more question just coming in.
Yeah.
It's more a generic QEMU question, but to what extent the 68K emulation was validated against real chips? For example, UAE, that is the Amiga emulator, has a CPU test. Is it worth porting that to Linux?
I think it was, but we have a code. We have a tool to check the accuracy of the emulation. I think the name of the tool is WeQ, and I have ported this tool to the M68K. So I have compared the execution of a lot of instruction between my Quadra 800 and the emulator. And I think that I started to work on a test tool that was used for the Lisa emulation. And we generate a lot of instruction execution with the state of the register before and the state of the register after that, and we compare the result between the real machine and the emulation. So we have several tools. I also port the soft float tool, the test float that allow to compare the FPU emulation, the FPU accuracy, but the FPU is not correctly emulated for the moment. We don't emulate the exception, for instance. But the answer of the question, we have tools to compare with the real hardware, but we don't use the UAE tool, I think you said. And it's always better to have more tools, but I think we are good for the moment. But if someone want to do that, he will be welcome. Okay. So
yeah, thank you very much. So that was all on the question side for now.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen on another part. I stop my. Okay. So I try to prepare 3 demos. The first demonstration, I increase the font size for this one. I have 3 demonstrations, one with the simple light command, one with the full command line, and one with the migration, because I think it's very interesting to use the migration because we can have also a snapshot with this technology. And I use a copy and write disk image. This is the base image, and with the simple command line, I use this disk image that is a copy and write of the previous one. I think you can see my cursor. So the command line I showed you before is this one, and I'm going to simply run this command line. I have built my QEMU modified. I have my modified kernel, and I have my copy and write disk image and the command line I showed you before. So I'm going to boot that. The current terminal will be the serial port of the machine. And let's boot it. So it's faster than a real Quadra 800, but I think it's really similar to the boot of the emulated Quadra 800. So we can log in. It's in French, I'm sorry. We can see the CPU. We have also the computed frequency of the CPU. It's my host system is an Intel system, and I think it's 3 gigahertz CPU, so it's twice slower, but I don't know if we can compare that. So I think it's the only things I wanted to show you with the simple command. We can stop this machine. Now we will see the full command line with a graphical interface. So my disk is also a copy and write disk is bigger because I have installed the XFCE desktop after I have started to back my disk. I will share my this home directory in the guest. So in home directory, we will have only one file. No, we have the standard directory with a graphical interface. Just to show you the command line that is really bigger. We have all I can put on that. We have the serial port. We have a networking device. We have a keyboard. We have a graphical display. We have a shared file system, and we also have a CD-ROM. So I'm going to decrease a little my window. I hope you can read, but and I'm going to boot this machine. It's slower because we have more things to start. We can have the boot sequence in the graphical window, but I prefer to have that because we can have the console in the serial port. We know way to have the login interface. We have the so we start. I'm moving to full screen. It's an emulation, so it's slow, but it's faster than what we already have. The graphical to use the Virtual GPU is interesting because we have more colors, we have bigger screen, we have a lot of things we can have with the Quadra 800 emulation. Okay. I'm going just to start the Mesa demo, the GLX Gears demo, just to show we can have 6 frames per second. If you want, I start something in the graphical interface now, you can say. Otherwise, I will go to the next demo. No? Okay, I stop that. if I can. So we can zoom or not in the window if you want. I do a clean shutdown. Should be faster. So the next demo is about the migration feature of QEMU. But what comes with the migration feature is the snapshot. So we can the one migration line is the same as the full one. I forgot to show the file system demonstration. So if you want, we will go back to that after. I removed in this demo. I removed the file system sharing. They prevent the migration if it is mounted because we can't save the state. And so I did a snapshot of a running machine last Wednesday, and I'm going to start directly from this snapshot. In full screen. So it's nearly instant. So this is the snapshot I saved. We have the date here because we have saved the state of the real-time clock. If we wait a little, we will have the update of the clock, and we can see it works well. It's not broken. So with this machine running, I'm going to do a migration. Normally, the migration is used to migrate between two remote hosts, but I have only one. So I'm going to migrate between two machines, between my host. I'm going to start another instance of QEMU ready for the migration. So I have to start and to say on which port I am waiting. Okay, so this is the machine that waiting. On the first one, I'm going to start a ping to show that the network is not interrupted. I'm going to ping the Google DNS because we know it is here. I switch to the QEMU monitor and I start a migration to the instance I have started. So you can see the new instance has started. The old one is stopped. The machine is paused. We can restart it if the migration failed. And I can stop this one. I can switch to the full screen. And you can see the date is now okay. It happens here because I think we have a NTP server in the guest. Okay, so that's all for the demo. If you want to see the file system sharing, I can go back to the previous demo. Otherwise, you can ask question because I'm done.
We have one question. the question is, does the virtual graphic card also supports 3D acceleration to some degree, or graphics acceleration in general?
I'm not a specialist in this part. It's the Virtaio GPU of QEMU. I think it supports the acceleration of the. It can be helped by the acceleration of the host card. I don't know if in this case, as we are in a full emulation, if it's supported. But it's possible, but I don't have an answer for this question. I can ask the question to the maintainer of the Virtaio GPU, but I don't know exactly. It's possible.
I would like to see the file system demo.
Okay, so
that is possible.
Yeah, I have to restart the previous one. The slower one. We will not start the graphical interface. I will increase the size of the characters. So this window will be on the host, and this window will be in the guest. Okay. Okay, so on the host, this window, and I'm not in the good. Okay, I've written again the Hello World program. This is that. We have here it too. We can build it. With the M68K compiler. We can run it here with file here too. And if I check, I can see it's a 68K file. Okay. Do you want I try something else to see? Okay, so I think I'm done this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was very impressive.
Thank you.
There was one more question here from John. Is the Gears demo, is that using 68K software emulation of OpenGL, or is it accelerated via external devices?
As I said, it's using the, I think the Virtaio GPU provide the emulated hardware of the 3D of the tweaked card, but I don't know. In this demo, it was not using the hardware acceleration, and perhaps it can be used, but I don't know how to configure that, and I didn't try.
The question is, you mentioned Next emulation in the beginning. That is not complete. Is there a Linux kernel for Next available?
I don't know. I think the goal was to start the next operating system. And in this case, it only starts the firmware, and you have to provide the firmware yourself because it's copyrighted. But I think we can find that with Google. And in fact, no one is working on that. So no one is working on the QEMU emulation, so it will not go further. And I don't know if someone is working on the Linux kernel part. So.
Yeah, there's MMU man here in the chat who's working on Haiku using that. So he says that the Haiku bootloader already starts on that emulation.
Okay, great.
Yeah, people are excited about this and are.
Okay, nice.